Hello, everyone, and welcome to World Music Wednesdays. I'm your host, Veronika Rose, and today we have a very special guest, the fabulous visionary artist, Emily Kell. Welcome, Emily.
Was really lucky to grow up on this. I went to a farm school. It wasn't, what's the word for that group of schools? It was like a very alternative place. And I was very lucky to have teachers and family members who really like saw that I was into art and encouraged me. And at the same time, I grew up like surrounded by nature. So there was a lot of inspiration, and I just remember always feeling so excited about creativity. Um, and it's been a part of my life, since like pre-K. Um, and yeah, I think I didn't really know like what I wanted to paint until, or like my mission, until maybe mm, like 8 or 9 years ago. And um, as I was doing like some deep dives and self work, I came into like my mission of painting divine feminine manifestations and making it sort of like a ceremony to empower myself and the other people in my paintings.
And so you were living in Savannah for a while, correct?
Yeah, I went to college there for painting and writing. And after I graduated, I just stayed, and I spent, I think, like 10 years there, and just moved here recently. This is my second year in Colorado.
Are you ready to jump into some of your art so I can show everybody, or is there anything else you'd like to share before we go into this?
All right, let's jump in.
All right, so everybody, I'm going to share my screen. All right, so this one is your first piece here.
Yeah, so this is a really old painting, which I included because it sort of was the beginning of my dive into divine feminine artwork. I remember being really inspired by creation stories and different, ancient mythologies, and that's where the symbolism of the turtle came in, and also the yoni, I guess just like divine mother creation stuff. So it was before I actually knew how to paint people. That was something that was really hard for me for a long time. So I was doing this more abstract work, and sort of got really inspired by the idea of painting manifestations of divine feminine. And yeah, this was the beginning of that.
Wow, it's beautiful.
Thanks.
I'm going to switch, and then looks like you're going a little bit deeper. Looks like a subtle yoni there.
Yeah, this was like around the same time. Still a lot different than the work I'm doing today, but yeah, I was using that yoni symbolism and the turtle stuff. That was a big thing for me for a while. And then, yeah, I went a little deeper with the interconnectivity with the eyes and the patterning and the spirit molecule and all of that. I was really into, I guess, just different cultural symbols and how they all wove together. Oh no, my dog's being crazy.
So nice.
That turtle shell, how she shaded that turtle shell, it's like beautiful.
I'm sorry. He's like chill all day until I'm doing something.
Don't worry, we have parrots on here and dogs and cats. That's great.
That's awesome. So
Part
Emily,
of the family.
Exactly. Is this oil, or do you use acrylics, or what do you normally? What's your preferred medium?
This is acrylic. I actually do both.
Okay.
I learned acrylic first, and then kind of transitioned into oil. And now like I kind of switch back and forth every few months.
Yeah. So when you do these kind of the glow, like around the tortoise shell, do you do like, do you start with like an underpainting and then you do glazes, or is it all just like, on the canvas direct method?
So I actually have a very mixed way of painting, and I've never sort of settled on like a regular approach. So this, I think, was mostly direct, but I got really transparent with the sort of metallic and glowy stuff. But I mix it up. I do like an underpainting in burnt sienna and white and glaze over it sometimes, or a lot of times I just do direct. And it usually ends up being some mixture of the two.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Thanks.
All right, switching over to this one.
Okay, so this was one of my very first figure paintings. I think it was maybe the third one. And I remember just being like really excited at this point in time to really like come into focus around what my art mission was. And when I discovered that making art could be a therapeutic process and something that was like helping to integrate all kinds of things from sexual trauma to like body image issues and stuff like that. That's when I feel like I really found my artistic voice. And I really love using self-portraiture as a therapeutic modality. So this is a self-portrait, I think from 2010, and using the egg as symbolism for inner transformation. And then at the same time, although it's like really personal, I think it still is like speaking about global metamorphosis, and everything is through sort of a mystical psychedelic lens. So there's that, but a lot of like the heart of my work is about self-transformation and empowering through body positivity and reclaiming power, I think.
That's beautiful. And it looks like this is where you kind of started, your series in that. And I can see like this painting was the beginning of like your next art evolution. I can see how it progressed from here, just knowing your pieces. And so it's really cool to see, where it all started.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really nice. So moving on to this one. I love this one.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a more recent one from, I think, 2017. And it's another self-portrait, and it's called Saturn Return. I was really going through a big shift in my life, a huge amount of integration, and I really enjoyed like putting it all out there into a painting. So it has a lot of symbolism and meaning to me, and I started it in Autumn Sky Morrison's Soul Portrait Retreat. Mm-hmm. She has been such an amazing teacher to me. So this is one of my favorite pieces I've done. I think it was like really therapeutic. I wrote a lot of prayers in the background, and it's very layered. And I was working with different animal medicine symbolism. I keep having like the symbol of a deer or a fawn come up for me a lot. And then, this was a piece about sort of, I think, the magic of vulnerability and really like claiming those like deep, tender, emotional parts of me. And when I painted it, I was like really going through it. So it was really cool to have this piece as sort of like a touchstone as I was like exploring these like deep shadow worlds.
Wow. Can you tell me what the snake symbolizes? Is that like a medicine journey there, or?
Let me think back to when I did this. I feel like, so part of it was just like a literal thing of I kept seeing ravens, snakes, and deer. So I felt like their presence with me very strongly. And then I think also when I was painting this, the snake is sort of coming out of my like yoni chest portal, which is maybe my favorite part of the painting. I'm excited about. And I think it was about like I was going through this huge initiation. And part of that, I think, was like integrating my inner masculine and feminine. So I think the yoni and the snake represent the meeting of those two sides of myself.
Wow.
So it's sort of like a sacred sexuality, like solo journey.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
Thanks.
All right, I'm going to switch to this drawing. Is that did that help you prepare for that one, for that painting?
No, this is actually more recent. I just wanted to share. I've been doing these like looser doodles in my sketchbook. A lot of them are self-portraiture, and it's like when I feel something big arising, I will do this like these doodles of myself and what I'm feeling, and it's been a really therapeutic way of working with my art. And also like there's something nice about getting the raw emotion out onto a piece of paper without needing to put like 100 hours into a finished painting. So I've been really enjoying these as a way of working with like divine wounds and whatever is coming up for me at that time. I have like 50 of these, but this is one of my favorite ones.
This one's very lovely. I can't tell. I don't know if it's my computer, but do you use like toned paper? Is that your preference, or?
Yeah, I have a sketchbook that's like sort of mid-tone. It's like creamy colors and grays.
Yeah, it's nice to work with from that. So you're essentially sewing up your heart there.
Yeah.
Heart space.
Yeah. And this was part of a big series, and some of them are just like ecstatic sexual expression, and some of them are just like the wound. And this one is somewhere in the middle, like the actual process of healing and integration.
Beautiful. And do you mind like explaining what the symbol on the stomach means?
So that is called, you know what, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but it's called an unalome. And these are ancient symbols. I have one on my hand. They sort of represent the life path. So usually there's like a spiral at the bottom, and I kind of loosely use that symbology, but each little twist and turn is like a different digression in your life path. And then at the end, when it straightens out, that sort of is alluding to, I think, ascension, or, you know, going back to source, or however you think of that.
Wow. It's lovely.
Thank you.
Oh, I've seen this one.
Yeah, this one is a mural at Hostel in the Forest. And I think I sent you a little bit of a fuzzy photo. Sorry about that, but you can see it. And I think this piece for me was really about like divine sisterhood, and also like has a little bit of a sensuality to it. Just wanted to create like a feeling of like sweet love and safety through this painting.
Where this is positioned at the hostel in the forest, for those of you that don't know, it's right by this tub in the middle of the forest. So it's like you're exposed to these beautiful trees, and you're in this tub in the middle of the forest, and there's this mural right there as you get to lay and bathe and just like appreciate it. And so this is definitely I love this piece, and it brings back fond memories. But I see that you have this sort of like language around the top of the full moon. Is that something that can you explain a little bit of that?
Sure, yeah. So my other favorite creative modality is writing. And I, like many people, started seeing these symbols in medicine journeys and in dreams. And that's something that I've been experiencing for many, many years. And after a while, I started writing some of them down, and then developed it out using inspiration from like cuneiform and hieroglyphs and stuff like that. And I developed a little language, which I'm always working on to get it more and more developed. But at this point, it's like an alphabet. So I write little messages into the paintings, and I feel like it gives them just like an added layer of meaning. And I also really enjoy diving deeper into what I'm trying to say in any given piece by writing a poem that correlates with it. So that's something I do a lot of.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. I love all your cosmic art. And are these constellations up at the top as well?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that is the Pleiades, which is my favorite constellation. I just love them. And they make their way into a lot of my artwork.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
All right. Okay.
More mermaids. I love mermaids. I've been thinking about revisiting the theme, and this one too is about, I guess one of the things I really love about visual art is that it can really hold multiple meanings for whoever is viewing it, and that can be true for different views. But I think this one is like both sensual and sort of sisterly, depending on how you want to look at it. But I was really excited about their interwoven yoni hair moon.
Yeah, I saw that. That's
when
awesome.
That came through, I was like, yes.
Wow. It's really hard to nail the interweaving. You got it. It's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, this is an older one too, from I think 2014.
And it kind of looks just like a medicine grid in the background. I like the DNA helix or aspect to it as well.
Thank you. Yeah, that was, I think I was sitting in some medicine ceremonies that year and had some really cosmic sisterhood visions come through, and this was one of my favorites.
Great. And I love this one as well. I really like your color palette in this one. It's really just soft and...
Yeah, so this one is called Mama, and all my paintings are paintings of my friends, and this is actually one of my closest friends and a huge inspiration to me. And I really love that added layer of meaning of like very deeply knowing the subject of the painting and letting their energy come through a little bit. And so this particular friend is a very powerful healer woman. And we had this spot in Savannah, this amazing mother tree. And, you know, the tree didn't have like an actual vagina like that. I definitely added that in. But yeah, this was a fun, intentional piece to do, sort of about clearing, keeping your sacred space and your body clear and being intentional with that.
Is that Palo Santo?
It is Palo Santo, yeah.
Nice. Wow. And I really like your balance. I guess I don't really, I guess purple, is that considered a cool? I guess this is a cooler color, but I really like your balance of cools and warms in this one.
Thank you.
And I see your sacred symbols going up the tree as well. And I have to say this, you definitely inspired me to paint more yonis as well. So your art is very inspiring.
Thank you. So is yours. Yeah, and they're really fun to paint. I really enjoyed. I actually have a funny story about this one.
Sure.
I hung it in a show in Savannah, and somebody stabbed it with a knife.
Oh my gosh.
So there was a big hole in it, which, you know, I eventually mended and sold the painting. But I just thought it was interesting that it elicited such a strong reaction, just being, I think, you know, a very sweet yoni painting. That was a big surprise for me.
Wow.
I'm so curious. Like, was it a male, a female, old, or a young person? It's so like, why would I?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Oh my God.
You know, the restaurant where it was hanging called me, and they were like, here's
Wow.
and we don't know who did it.
Well,
Yeah.
all's well that ends well.
Yeah. I was able to mend it. Yeah.
Magical.
Thank you. So, yeah, this is another self-portrait. At the time, I was really struggling with endometriosis, and so was inspired to go on a trip and do a lot of medicine work for healing that. And this was a medicine painting that was really about that journey and about honoring my body where she was. And so in the left corner, I sort of have like this little spirit of joy, and there's like a beam shooting from her heart into this pyramid. And then I have these little prayers I've written in my language, which is called Moon Scratch, and they're like hitting my belly. So it was like a very intentional, like self-healing medicine piece. And I actually that year did a bunch of healing and felt a lot better. So it's a very special personal piece for me.
I definitely resonate with that, and this definitely reminds me of a moon dance vibe. And I know we talked about moon dance before, but this is super in line with in Mexico. And anyways, this piece is super powerful.
Thank you. Yeah, I know I'll make it there eventually. It's been strong intention in my heart for a while now.
Mm-hmm. Is that the I don't know what the name of that bird is down there. Incan bird or
it's from the Nazca lines in Peru.
That's right. Okay.
So the medicine journey that I went on was in Peru. So there's a lot of Peruvian symbolism in this one, as well as the personal stuff. I have little leaf wings. Those are chacruna leaves. And my hair is like a vine.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
It's so magical too with ayahuasca being like, you know, how they talk about like mother ayahuasca and like that feminine healing too. Like, thank you so much for sharing like everything. It's so grateful.
Thank you. My pleasure. Yeah, so this is a recent self-portrait, and this one was so fun for me to make. I did it pretty quickly. This is one of my favorite ways to work. It's sort of like just the white underpainting style, but sometimes I just think those like smoky, transparent whites are really pretty. So sometimes I'll just do a painting that's just that. And I was really thinking a lot, I was meditating a lot on death and like the beauty of the mystery and like of not knowing. And at the same time, I was meditating on body image stuff and like embracing some new curves that I had going on. And so this is really about the marriage of like the earth being and the more like eternal cosmic being that we all have. And I just was really excited about the space underpants.
Those are pretty epic.
Thank you.
Did you
may have to sell those. You may have to produce those.
I know.
Right? Did you start with a drawing first and then you painted it in, or did you just go right into painting?
I drew it first. I drew it with some white charcoal. So.
And what kind of paint did you use?
This is oil.
This is, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. I really like the angle of when I've tried to do planetary things, like just really nailing that angle and the way your fingers are just running through it. It's just, wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love the movement.
Yeah, I was feeling like really coming into like my sacred sensuality with this posture and position, and especially like the fingers running through the cosmos. That felt like really sensual to me.
Definitely. Wow. This one's lovely.
Thank you. So this is a piece that's part of a series. I think I did this one in 2014 or 15. And it's called the Metamorphosis series. And in the series, I painted myself and women who I know sort of as representations of Mother Earth. So I wanted it to be like a project that was like empowering for the subject on a personal level, but then also like had a little dialogue about like the transformation of Earth consciousness. So I put little pyramids on her chakras, alluding to like sacred sites on Earth. And I really love like the relaxed sexual, sensual expressiveness in this one. And there again are the Pleiades. They just always sneak into my paintings. And I love, this one goes both ways. So actually upside down too, which I really like. A lot of the paintings in this particular series can be shown in different directions, which is kind of fun. And this is my most triggering painting. I've had a lot of people get really triggered by this painting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. It wasn't at all where I was coming from. Like, I didn't think that it would be offensive, but I think that sometimes for different reasons and people's personal experiences, things that like have a sensual or sexual nature can elicit different responses. And I also had a couple people misunderstand the pyramids and think that she was like being poked through with something or something.
Oh,
But they're pyramids. Yeah.
wow. And it's interesting because, when people look at your art, I believe art is like a universal language, but they're also projecting their own beliefs on it. So you can just by witnessing other people witness your own art, you could just learn so much about other people and the way they feel about sensuality. And so what a powerful medicine to even challenge, their perspective. And maybe it was triggering, but maybe it was healing in some ways too. So
no, I had some interesting conversations too. I remember I was painting at a festival, and someone said that she looked disempowered because of like her position, and we ended up having a really interesting conversation about how like being like receptive and relaxed and sexually open can be a really empowering position, as well as the more like, I don't know, dominant body language that I sometimes have in my paintings.
right. I mean, I'm not saying right, but I'm just saying like it's the receptivity that definitely shows the feminine energy. It's beautiful. And do you prefer, or was this a photo? Did you set up a photo shoot to get this angle, or did you have a live model? How do you work in that way?
Photo. My process is I'm very process oriented. So one of my favorite parts of the whole painting process is like working with the individual who I'm painting, and we usually do like a whole little ceremonial intentional photo shoot and talk about intentions. And sometimes we get to share our stories and connect in that way, and it ends up informing my paintings.
Thank you. So this is like an updated version of one of your first pieces, because you have this clay background, and I can see this evolution.
Cool.
At this point. It's cool.
Yeah, I really like working with, I don't do a lot of landscape imagery. I definitely want to do more of it, but I really like working with like desert symbolism. And so I'm actually working on an oracle deck, and this is my interpretation of the sun card. So it's very layered. There's a lot of prayers and the moon scratch in there. And this is one of my best friends, and she just has the most beautiful embodiment of her sexual expression. That's, I think the work that she's here to do. And so I was really inspired by just her earthly expression and just the joy on her face. So when we got the photo, I was like, yeah, that's the sun card.
Wow. I love the energy that's shooting off the ground as well. Is that kind of just like signifying hope, or like energetic rebirth, or?
Yeah, I think so. I think initially, so she has like a little sprout at her at her heart, and initially I was going to have like plants growing out of the cracks, but I was sort of like stuck in this mode of like overly planning everything. So with this painting, I loosened up, and like I didn't know that it was going to be a desert, and the swirlies just kind of came through. So I feel like that's like about the connection between people and the earth, and it also is about the connection between the sun and the earth. And it also represents just sort of like energy and plant life as well.
I love hearing everyone's processes here. Wow.
Yeah, speaking of which, this was a very process oriented painting. This was like during my Saturn return, and I was having sort of this like dark night of the soul experience, and I was very drawn to the medicine of ancient goddesses, and particularly the goddess Isis. And so I just started really calling in that archetypal energy and doing a lot of doodles and a lot of sketches. And part of my personal medicine practice with art and art making is I like to do paintings in moon blood. And I find it like really powerful. And so this started as a doodle that I did in Moonblood. And then I met this woman, Naima, back when I was living in Portland. And I was like, I feel like you really embody this vision that I had. And from there, I probably did like 3 or 4 more sketches and wrote this whole prayer in the background that I translated into Moon Scratch. So it was a lot of process before I actually even started the painting.
Wow. So did you, it looks like you glazed. I love the variation in color in the language in the background.
Yeah, that was all white, and I glazed like some really earthy purples and mostly turquoise.
Is your secret writing, is your Moon Scratch like a direct translation? Like, can you read it? Is it a key to?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And I actually like, I have some exciting things in the works with that. It's been like, I like sort of developing my own nerdy mythology. So I'm sort of like building a backstory and imagining, the source of the language. And then also the symbols themselves have developed over time. Like I imagine most language did. So they're shifting, and this is like an earlier version, I think, than what I'm working with now, but very similar.
Wow.
Oh.
So this one is called Blood Moon, and this was one of my favorite pieces to work on. It's looking a lot brighter than it is in real life, which is kind of cool. It's more of like a deep earthy red color in actuality, but this is my dearest friend, Bonnie, and she came and modeled for me during like a really potent personal place in her life. And it was just like a really fun and free session. And this painting had a different process because she just was visiting me, and I was like, let's take some photos. And the story and the poem that goes with it developed out of the photos we took, which is sort of opposite of how I usually work. But yeah, it was really fun. Painting someone who I love so much. She's one of my favorite models to work with because we're so close, and knowing sort of the place in her life that she was at and like the stuff she was integrating, it was fun to put all of that into this painting and make it really a prayer for her and for everyone who is sort of on that wavelength.
I love that you've done multiple pieces of her, and I know that you guys actually did a collaboration together. You've done a couple collabs too, correct?
Yeah.
And at Halloween,
What's that?
did you do one at Halloween?
I think
her?
so. Yeah. And we have one really big piece that's sort of an embodiment of the goddess Kali. And we've been working on it for like 6 years, like really slowly. But she's an amazing painter. So it's been really fun to work with her in that way as well.
Beautiful.
Thanks. So this is one of my good friends, Annie, and she also was like just at a potent place in her life, and this was one of the pieces that I did in that way that's backwards to my usual process, where we took a photo, we set an intention and did like a tarot reading and talked about like her personal magical process that she was experiencing. And then I built the narrative of the painting around that and did it sort of like as a prayer for her and to embody the archetype that she was really standing in that moment. And so it was a powerful journey, I think, for both of us. And in this one, I have prayers that I've written in moon scratch, as well as I use some cuneiform, just playing with the most ancient language a little bit. Yeah, and also like I'm really into just cosmic sort of I don't really want to use the word sci-fi, but like spacey stuff. So that's been fun to play with, like just empowering the earthly embodiment through the lens of like cosmic goddesses. And yeah, this was very much a collaborative process. Like I wanted to make it a prayer for Annie, and we checked in throughout the process regularly and talked about different symbolism that was coming through and intentions and medicine. And I actually have another painting of her on the way. I'm very excited.
Wow. And I love that you explore all body types in your artwork, and you show how beautiful all body types are. And I think that's what's so important in these times, especially with a lot of body shaming happening out there. And I feel like you're like the activist in the art world.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really important to me. It's probably like one of the most important aspects of my artwork is that like I want to try to have a lot of diversity represented, a lot of different types of beauty, and really reject like the cultural beauty norms of right now. Or not to say that like people that fit into that don't make it into my artwork, because they do, but to just be more broad in how I'm looking at beauty and painting beauty. And I really want people of different shapes to be able to look at my artwork and feel sexy and feel beautiful. That's one of my big goals. Yeah, so this is a recent painting, and I was like really loose and playful with this one. Oh, Simone owns this painting. Thank you so much, Simone. And this was just like
Lucky girl.
this was just like I was really enjoying that like celestial archetype and that like divine feminine sensuality and wisdom coming through. And then again, like have sort of the deer symbolism, which is like really strong for me these days. And yeah, I was just kind of envisioning like the cosmos as a woman, you know, and then also there's a dialogue there about the connection between like humanity and the great mysteries, and then yeah, this is one of my best friends, Amanda, and she and I had so much fun in this photo shoot, and she is like very Scorpio and was like really embodying this like really powerful sexual energy in our shoot, and so I really enjoyed bringing that in.
Wow. I feel like it almost could look like autumn sky as well a little bit.
I heard that a couple times. They do. They look a little similar.
Wow, that's really lovely there. And so I really love your just minimal palette. And so you achieved all of that with just like white, purple, and blue.
Yeah, that's really I tried to push myself to use more colors than just purple and blue. But they're definitely my favorite. And in this painting, I think I really wanted to like relax into using just colors and techniques that I absolutely love. So there wasn't like a lot of like pushing. It was just like, I'm going to do my favorite things. So it's like spacey and blue and white and purple. And I had so much fun on this piece. I enjoyed it so much.
And it's perfect and it's beautiful and it's all it needs to be. And I'm so grateful.
I'm so grateful. Thank you.
And you
How
can all
large is that?
come over as soon as quarantine's, locked down, and come over and see it in the flesh anytime. Open it.
Party!
Yeah.
So mystical, so beautiful.
Thank you.
And is this, how large is this?
I think it's 36 by 60 something.
Whoa. So life size.
Big. No, it's not quite life size, but it's pretty big.
It's almost, it's not quite, but it's almost.
Almost. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when this was a newer one, you said, was it this year?
Yeah. This one came through like pretty quickly. I started it in August and then worked on it steady, I think, through October, I'm pretty sure. Maybe even November. But I usually sort of do it more slowly, but I was really excited. And there's a lot of layers of language in this one.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fun to just like channel directly and not be so meticulously planned. I remember like little poetry downloads coming through, and I would just put them in, and some of them got glazed over, but it's all in there.
Wow.
Hey, Emily, can I ask you, what type of lighting do you use when you're shooting your models? Do you like to do outdoor or indoor if you're using a lighting setup?
I do both. I usually actually every photo shoot do both because I don't know. There hasn't been like one consistent type of lighting that I'm like, this is the lighting I'm always going to use. Definitely, I really enjoy painting form through light and shadow. So a lot of times I try to work with dramatic lighting. I also love natural lighting and like sunlight though. So I usually try to meet up with a model around like sunset, and we do some outside, and then once it's dark, like set up a light and do dramatic lighting inside, and then I just pick the best photo that I got.
What's so important about some of like the paintings is you're helping to activate all these women to feel, I feel, in these empowering ways just by looking at your art to show them that it is possible to connect back to the divine, feminine and cosmos. And so thank you for like channeling that message. It's yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that is the intention. And with this one in particular, the moon scratch prayers are like supposed to be like channeled messages from divinity. Like you know, coming right into her hand and her being.
Wow.
Yeah, so this one is like a deeper blue than it's coming out here, but this is also very much about feminine sensuality and receptivity. And this is one of my dear friends again, and we were at the hostel in the forest taking these photos where that mural is. And yeah, it was a really powerful embodiment experience, I think, for both of us. The experience around this painting was a lot of sharing stories and going deep into like body love. And I remember us talking a lot about body image issues and like working through some stuff and then coming to this like really peaceful place. And yeah, when I got this photo, I was very excited about it. I feel like it really, really embodies this mood of receptivity that I was going for and sort of relaxing into the divine.
And that lake there is super magical. So you're just like really tapping into the magical energy of that space as well.
Yeah, I love that lake for sure.
Wow. And I really like that, you know, you're still using the blues, but I just softer blue than your other palettes. And, you know, I like when artists change it up and challenge themselves and try new things.
I feel like most of my work is like really lunar and sort of nighttimey, and that feels authentic to what I want to express. But every once in a while, I'm like, I want to do a solar piece, and I think this was more like that daytime stuff. Yeah, so this is just this is a little mini painting. And actually I can tell you what the moon scratch in this one says. It's a common mantra that I put into things when I'm sort of keeping it rather simple but want to add an extra layer of meaning. It says remember, and it's about like remembering your divinity and your connection to source, and also remembering your safety and you know, life mission and soul purpose. And this was a really fun model to work with. This is my friend Akasha, and I've done a few paintings of her. This one's really small. It's like this big. And just, I felt like in her posture, she was really embodying like reclaiming her sexuality. And we had a lot of really inspiring conversation during that shoot about that process. And yeah, simple little painting. And then also like, she's wearing sort of the night sky as like a cape or a veil. And I thought that was interesting metaphor. Yeah, this one was a lot looser than my usual style. I did it pretty quickly, but it was a lot of fun.
And when you do sell your artwork, where can people go and find, you know, purchase some of these? Do you have a lot of these images as prints, or I know you were selling tapestries too?
Yeah, I definitely make all types of reproductions and sell the originals. And I sell them on my Instagram, which is Emily the Funky Priestess. And I also sell them on my Etsy shop, which the URL is etsy.com/shop/EMKELL.
But Ooh.
This is a painting from last year, actually. The same model. This is my friend Akasha, and I really loved doing this painting as a prayer for like just like the collective womb space and like blessing that. And I really love like the cosmic yoni swirl. I thought that was a fun little metaphor about, that being like an interdimensional portal, bringing spirits in from elsewhere. And I was working with Saturn imagery, still going through my Saturn return and sort of playing a lot with that symbolism. And yeah, this painting is really just a prayer about honoring like collective feminine and also like the womb space.
And how large is this piece?
That's another little guy, is a mini, maybe 10 inches.
Oh, wow. Oh, another looks like Bonnie.
Yeah, this is another piece of Bonnie, and this is a mini as well. And I included this one because it's just like a little sensual painting. I like the rose imagery. And this one, I think it's fun for me to just like loosen up and do things in a more in the moment way sometimes, and that was the case with this painting. It wasn't like a whole download prayer thing. It was just like she was posing and this came through.
I just wanted some tips. Like, do you have any advice for people that don't feel empowered with their body? Like what's a good way to feel more empowered, besides looking at your art, obviously, but is there a practical thing that you would suggest to help women?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. That's been like, one of my biggest wounds and lifelong self-work that I have carried, which I think when you have something that's like such a deep wound, it's a good indication that it's like a calling or something that you're here to be a part of shifting. And so that's kind of what guided me towards doing this work, is like my own deep wounds with body image and eating disorder stuff. And so I guess like recently I really realized how important the visual diet is, and really curating. Like, for instance, like on my Instagram, I follow a ton of like sex positive and body positive pages, and like other pages of people who are like making art, whether it's photography or whatever, art that represents different types of beauty. That makes me feel really empowered and, safe in my body. And then also, like, I think movement has been a huge part of healing body image stuff for me, is like really enjoying like sensation in my body and moving it and dancing and like physically moving those negative sort of feelings out of my internal space. And there's all kinds of practices. I do herbal body oiling. I think it's really important to have a practice of loving your body. And so for me, that journey began a couple years ago. I had this medicine journey where I met my body as like a separate entity from myself, and realized like I am the earthly steward of my body. I am not my body, but like I am the steward of my body and I care for my body. And so that really shifted my relationship, where I realized like I had to speak really kindly and really like change what I did and honor my body as like this amazing gift that it is. And so I started doing things like taking plant baths and using herbal body oil and all kinds of little magical practices that just make me feel good in my body.
Thank you for sharing that. I didn't know if there's anything else that you wanted to share before we go back to I stopped sharing my screen.
No, just thank you so much.